October 7 is a reminder of the wretched day in which our people were thrust ever deeper into the abyss of foreign dependency, terror, crime, and misery. Exactly 16 years ago, under the guise of restoring democracy, war and terror, and liberating women, the US and NATO occupiers began dropping their bombs on an organized nation that had spent 3 decades under the tyranny of the arch-criminal governments of the Khalq and Parcham, the Islamic fundamentalists, and the murderous Taliban, who all came to power with full support of their Eastern, Western, and regional masters. With the occupation of our homeland, the hardships and agony of our people have multiplied. In the first step, the occupiers have placed the most advanced and high-tech military bases in Afghanistan to keep our country inflamed in the fire of war and terror for many years. They have converted our country into its lab for testing weapons and even tested the biggest non-nuclear bomb known as mother of all bombs. Our villages are targeted daily in airstrikes conducted by the bloodthirsty US and NATO, with the most victims being women and children. The rural population is crushed between the Taliban, ISIS, and pro-government militias, and the bodies of the city dwellers are torn to shreds in suicide attacks and bombings by the Taliban and ISIS swine. Sectarian divisions, whose prime victims are our innocent compatriots, are systematically fed. Our homeland has been turned into a hotbed of war and regional and world power rivalries, and threatened by mortal dangers. The occupiers have envisaged an Afghanistan engrossed in insecurity, instability, and war, to export terrorism into Central Asia and especially strike Russia and China. The real victims of this fraudulent policy are our unfortunate people. The criminal regimes of Iran and Pakistan have been given a free hand in Afghanistan, turning our homeland into our intelligence agencies' spy hubs. Drug production and trafficking constitutes the basis of our economy, with 3 million addicts as its sinister outcome. Our helpless women burn in the resulting inferno. Corruption and treachery so embedded in the warp and weft of the puppet regime that purging it would take decades of backbreaking work. These are all the results of occupiers' B-52's democracy, which their lucky technocrats and supporters are shamelessly asking the people to be grateful of criminal US and NATO sacrifice and cooperation. By announcing its so-called new strategy in Afghanistan on 21st August 2017, the US government breathed new life into its Afghan stooges who, after the US presidential campaign, kept whimperingly beseeching Trump not to ignore his Afghan darlings and leave them delicate orphans. Even then, the Solidarity Party of Afghanistan warned that the US will not leave the country soon and in such an easy way. With Trump, in any case, the criminal policies of the US would continue ever more savagely than before. With the announcements of this new strategy, a handful of the regime's bootlickers and US embassy mercenaries who pride themselves in their fake epithets of experts and political analysts shamelessly wagged their tails for their masters and announced that the new strategy is a golden opportunity for Afghanistan and the key to resolving its issues. These individuals are so utterly brazen that their befouled consciences cannot be shocked neither by the blood of the victims of their US masters' recent airstrikes in Herat, Logar, and Karabakh, nor by the screams of the victims' family members. The National Terror Government signed the bilateral security agreement in its first day of power. The signing of the BSA with the US, the date to the sell-off of our motherland, is another blot of shame in the annals of our history. by accepting the establishment of permanent US bases on our land and signing the Strategic Treaty and Security Agreement, a coterie of criminal traitors to the nation have finalized the sale of Afghanistan. Thus, with the signing of the BSA, the current puppet regime, composed of a mixture of the same sold-out traitor to the motherland elements, has dealt the final blow to the integrity of the motherland. The shackling of our people with the chains of slavery and misery is complete. According to the BSA, the US forces in Afghanistan enjoy immunity from prosecution and cannot be investigated and prosecuted in Afghanistan for any incidents. These crimes and cruelties will continue till the day our nation rises against these foreign occupiers and their internal lackeys. Not only in Afghanistan, but the savage crimes of the US troops in Japan, the Philippines, South Korea, Laos, Iraq, Italy, Colombia, Ecuador, and many other parts of the world in past decade flaunt all laws and principles of human dignity. With 9 military bases allowed by US minions in our country, Afghanistan will be in the forefront of the hostilities which threaten the world with a third world war. If we do not rise up and, like our forefathers, teach an exemplary lesson to the occupiers and their local minions, if we do not destroy this colonizing fortress through our collective mobilization and all-out insurrection, our lot will be abject servitude for years and years to come. This year, the Solidarity Party of Afghanistan joins several anti-war organizations in the US, Italy, and Philippines in a call for action against military bases initiative. The Hambastagi believes that terrorism and war-mongering powers headed by the US are a serious threat to the world. And since they are universally condemned by world public opinion, there is a need to create global solidarity of progressive and anti-war organizations against them. The Solidarity Party of Afghanistan invites all internal and foreign progressive organizations unattached to imperialist and reactionary governments to join this international solidarity movement. We believe that the international solidarity of all freedom-loving forces around the globe will end the war and injustice in the world. The Solidarity Party of Afghanistan once again declares to the people of Afghanistan that neither reactionary foreign forces nor their puppets can herald peace and prosperity for our country. This will only be possible through our united struggle and sacrifice. Let us, through awareness and mobilization, become an undefeatable force against the fundamentalist and non-fundamentalist puppets and their occupiers' masters. Long live freedom, democracy, and social justice.